I hope everybody's doing okay. You guys have a good morning. Satya's session's pretty good, and either Scott's or Rajesh's, wherever you spent your morning. This is one of my favorite shows. There's a real left to right view from sort of a technology perspective, a business perspective, and so I love this one. This session's sort of a bridge session, right? Satya's probably spent maybe 10 minutes, Power Platform and Dynamics 365, and Scott might have gone another 10 with a demo. This one's an hour. The intent here is to stitch together some of the pieces. So Satya talked about sort of Power Platform for extensibility, common data model, common data service, sort of data at the heart, a little bit of Power BI and Power Platform for extensibility and allowing line of business application developers and ISVs to link things together. So what we want to do in this hour is try and stitch the pieces together, and so we'll spend about 3/4 of the time on demos and show and tell. Just a little bit of an intro, and then everything we do here, there's probably another hour deeper dive. So we're that bridge session between the two. Now, I was inspired this morning that Satya and I sometimes, that didn't work. Nice job. Where did my PowerPoint go here? All right, somebody want to give me a little hand on where the PowerPoint went on this thing? That's interesting. Little I cancelmans. I'm gonna hide behind the podium here, and I'm gonna pop back up and pretend like nothing happened. He did a better job of it than I will probably, but he had Scott come on stage and help him with that. I had Sean, so it's pretty similar. He's a little wittier. So myself, Orville, and Justina will spend about an hour on this. Satya, he started off in the gaming section with a video because he liked to look sort of backwards before he looked forward. He brought out Donkey.Bass. I thought, okay, line of business applications are just as cool as games, and therefore we have old videos that are just as cool as that. And so I went searching the archives in the hour we had, and I wanted to sort of go for it here. So this is not quite Donkey.Bass, but I think you'll be impressed with how old it is.
Whether it's IBM, Radio Shack, Apple, or any of many personal computers, they all have one thing in common: software from Microsoft. Microsoft developed a computer language for microcomputers called BASIC, which made possible the personal computer revolution. 80% of personal computers are sold to businesses. Now, for the first time, knowledge of computer language is no longer necessary to do financial forecasting, thanks to multi-tools expert systems. This new software asks simple questions in plain English. Using just a couple of keys, a complete financial picture can be entered into Microsoft's spreadsheet called Multiplan. Then change a variable and you can instantly see the implications.
Oh, life was simpler back then. It was pretty exciting too, so I kind of love that one. Now, there's sort of good news and bad news there. The good news is we've made a lot of progress. The bad news is some of the core fundamentals are still the same. And so if you think of most sort of line of business applications as forms over data, we still have a long way to go, because that is the basic model. The three pictures here in the 70s, we were probably sitting in front of a green screen, entering some information on top of in that case, a mainframe. In 92, by then we probably had a 3¼ inch floppy disk. Some light likelihood we were connecting to a server on the back end. And in 2015, it's likely a SaaS solution, but in all cases still forms over data. Sean points out to me that the ergonomics and the lighting are better as you get further along in history. But we have some work to do in terms of the model that we're working on. If you think about sort of the line of business applications and the journey we're on, it's an interesting time. I mean, if you look at sort of just the realities of where we are, look, there's a lot of folks now that can and should be contributing into the solution set. Our challenge is often the contributions they make aren't reusable. And so how do you help subject matter experts develop code that we can reuse, or tools or pieces, and not have it be throwaway? Programming languages, tool sets, the environments, they're all growing. Cloud, hybrid, we've got old existing code, we've got new code, we've got more languages. You'll see us play around with that. Visual Studio Code, with Visual Studio, with the Azure portal, lots of places. So we've got the number of devices growing, and the one I should highlight is data. Satya sort of hit this morning. We've gone from sort of databases, data warehouses, data lakes. Look, let's just call it a tidal wave. We've got more and more data coming in. We're going to be asked to reuse that data to add either insights or intelligence into what we're doing. I would garner that everyone in this room has had at least a few people ask about AI. How are we going to implement it? How are we going to use it? And that all starts with data. And so all of these things are just the realities of what we deal with. And then we have some opportunities. How do we use AI? How do we use mixed reality? How do we use IoT or blockchain, which was announced today? I'll spend most of my energy today on the AI side of it. As we think about line of business applications, how do we subtly infuse AI into the work that we're doing? And on that particular one, through each of the stanzas we go through, there'll be AI woven in. But the thing I'll highlight now is my belief if you do a good job with AI, it's not about sort of ta-da, it's about making things work better. And so if you do a good job with AI and you infuse it well, things just work better. There's not sort of some grandiose change. So earlier you saw Visual Studio with AI added in. We have AI in Office. We have AI in Windows. But you don't see us say, hey, Windows inking brought to you by Azure AI, or Visual Studio now with Microsoft AI. It just works better. And so we'll try and show you sort of the subtle additions into the different phases today as we go, because that's my belief in terms of how you make that work. Now, we've been on a bit of a journey ourselves. The transformation of all of our solutions it's been a sort of 10-year plus project. In Office, we went from Office Client to Client Server to Internet to our SaaS solution. On the server side, we've been on the journey from Windows Server, SQL Server, BizTalk Server, up through Azure and sort of the entire Azure conversation today. On our line of business solutions, which started with acquisitions, Navision, Great Plains, Solomon, et cetera, we've been on a journey for those as well to pull out the common elements. Sort of Satya talked about Power Apps, Power BI is the extensible engines, the common data model, right? All built on top of Azure, and then turn the dynamic solutions themselves into SaaS services that people can build on top of. So they're both solution plus platform. Same, by the way, for Office 365. So we want to move our line of business applications and our solutions from just forms over data to systems of intelligence that are feeding each other that make the whole process better and make our solutions better and capabilities. And as users of line of business applications at Microsoft, myself for 25 years, as creators of them, there's opportunity here. All right, there's a lot of upside. So for this session, we're going to break it into 3 parts. We're going to start with the data. All right, if you're going to have a conversation around AI, first thing we have to think about is how do we get the data, sort of data ingestion, data cleansing, data wrangling, pick your term, how do we make that easier? And then the second piece of this is, let's look for insight first. I believe in BI before AI. Like if you can't find insights in your data, let's not have a conversation on adding intelligence. So let's get sort of the data component done and started with, sort of begin there. The second thing then is how do we connect to and then leverage the Power Platform? How do we allow subject matter experts, likely not professional developers, but to take advantage of some of the capabilities we're providing and create services or extensions or capabilities that then can be added into the overall solution? Then the last piece is how do we sort of take all of the pieces plus D365, O365, and build end-to-end solutions. And for that, we'll show off 2 ISV solutions and some of the work they've done. All this gets stitched together. We have customers get together and sort of create the extensions for the common data model and sample apps that will allow us to more quickly connect the work going on between different line of business solutions and different ISVs and different developers. What Satya commented on this morning was, look, there's no one sort of app to rule them all in any industry, in sort of anywhere to go. And one of the hardest challenges in this space is there's lots of smaller apps or lots of different vendors. How do we make it easier to connect the dots? And that's what the accelerators are about. We're going to use healthcare as our scenario. We could have picked retail. We could have picked manufacturing. But we wanted to pick a specific industry, use that as a scenario, and then walk our way through each of the 3 pieces. I've got a couple colleagues here to help me out. The first section of this is going to be data plus the Power Platform. I'm going to ask Justina Luznik to come on up, take the first stanza of this, and then I'll go back in between.
Awesome.
All right, it's all yours.
Awesome. So today we're going to be looking at a feedback loop that's really relevant for any healthcare provider, which is patient satisfaction. And as part of this demo, we're really going to be hitting on 3 things. Firstly, how you can do self-service data prep for big data on top of the Azure Data Lake. Secondly, how you can use Microsoft AI technologies to do AI enrichments. And finally, how you can leverage Power BI to build amazing reports, find insights, and share those insights with others. So to start off with, we're actually inside the Power BI service, and you'll see alongside our reports and dashboards, we actually have this new tab called Data Flows. And we've brought data flows directly into Power BI. Data flows are a really powerful technology that allow us to create reusable and repeatable ETL processes directly inside Power BI. You'll see over here we're inside our patient satisfaction workspace, and we have a number of different data flows that we've created around patient surveys, hospital KPIs, as well as patient historical data. So what we're actually doing here is we're ingesting data from lots of different sources, we're transforming this data, cleansing this data, and saving it in these repeatable ETL flows called data flows. Data flows can also be linked together, so you can actually link data from lots of different places and create a consolidated and unified view of your data. So in this case, we've actually created this patient satisfaction view, which is bringing data from lots of different places. Another really cool thing about data flows is it's actually built on top of the Azure data lake. So as an analyst, as you're bringing data into data flows, you're actually operating on top of the Azure data lake without even knowing it. So if we go ahead and actually switch this into this kind of list view, so it's a little bit easier to see. And we're actually going to pop up the Azure Storage Explorer. You'll see that over here, inside our Azure Storage Explorer, we're inside ADLS Gen 2, and we're inside a Power BI blob container inside ADLS Gen 2. So what I can do is navigate to my patient satisfaction workspace, which is the one I'm in inside Power BI. And you'll see all of these data flows saved as common data model folders. So that means that all of the data that the analyst has brought in is now able to be used by others in the organization as a reusable data asset. So for example, if my, let's say, Power Apps developer wants to go ahead and build a nurse app using Power Apps, the great news is Power Apps is able to read and write CDM folders too, so we can now collaborate on top of the same data. Our business applications are also able to write CDM form, and so do all of our different Azure data services. So this means that all of the different personas inside the organization are now able to collaborate together. So before we actually start creating our different reports, I want to show you guys how easy it actually is to do data transformations using data flows. So I'm going to navigate to my patient surveys data flow over here, and I'm going to go ahead and wait for this for a second and click on edit over here. And I do not want to recover it from cache. I want to actually edit my entities. And over here, you're actually going to see we have brought in patient survey data. So we have lots of different patients who have filled in surveys about our hospitals, and we have a number of structured questions that we've asked them, so we have some structured answers. But if we go all the way to the end, we can see that also the patients were asked to add some additional comments. So we have some free text here as well. Now, if you've used Power BI or Excel before, you'll see that this interface should be looking very familiar to you. And that's because we've actually embedded Power Query directly into data flows to make data prep on top of the Azure data lake really, really easy. Because we're actually asking our analysts to use tools that they're already very familiar with. Now, I want to extract some insights from these additional comments over here. But it's kind of hard to work in a BI tool with unstructured text. So what I can actually do is you'll notice we've added this new AI Insights button to our Power Query in the web. And what this allows us to do, if we go ahead and select this, is we can actually call the cognitive services, so the Azure cognitive services, directly inside Power BI. And so far, we've brought in image detection models as well as textual analytics models. So if I want to, for example, extract out all the key phrases from my text, all I have to do is select the column that I want to analyze. So in my case, this is the additional comments. And I'm just going to invoke the function. Now, if I wanted to do something like this inside, let's say, Azure, I would have to spin up the cognitive service, I'd have to get out the subscription key, I'd have to figure out how I'm going to call it, how I'm going to store the result. In Power BI, in basically 2 clicks as an analyst, I can go ahead and call this function, and you'll see I've gone ahead and created myself a new column over here that has all of the key phrases that were extracted. So if we go ahead and zoom into this, for example, we can see someone here talking about the fish and hospital food. So, really, really important things about their patient visit. They're commenting about how they found the quality of the food in the hospital. Now, if I wanted to see whether they were happy with the food or unhappy with the food, I could call an additional cognitive service, which is my sentiment function, and figure out if basically, they're writing, good comments or they're writing not so good comments. So I've gone ahead and, skipped those steps over here for you guys. And we can see that in this particular case, sentiment is 0.197. Sentiment generally is between 0 and 1. So generally here, they're not very happy with the food in the hospital. Okay, so now that we've gone ahead and actually added some additional insights to our data, I want to actually start creating my reports inside Power BI. So I'm going to jump into the Power BI desktop tool over here, which is our authoring canvas for reporting. And you can see if I've already gone ahead and started to create my reports. So on the left-hand side, you'll see this map. And as I do my demos, you'll see I really love maps. But over here in the map, we've actually started leveraging the sentiment that we've extracted out earlier. And what we can see very quickly is, which hospitals have generally low sentiment versus higher sentiment. So I can start focusing on the areas that need improvement. On the right-hand side, because I've consolidated all my data together, I can start cross-correlating different metrics, such as my hospital KPIs, like length of stay, with my sentiment across time. And you'll notice over here I have a placeholder visualization, which I haven't plotted yet. Here I want to actually plot my survey scores across time, and I want to use a heat map to do that. Now, Power BI doesn't have a built-in heat map, but that's not a problem because Power BI is fully extensible and you can actually author your own AI visualizations using custom visuals, or in this case, we want to actually plot a Python visualization here. So you'll see I've already started plotting a Python visual. If I select this, you'll see the Python visualization is selected. And what I can do is very easily just bind it to the data that I want to use. So in this case, I'm going to drag in my category, my score, and my week number. I want to find the average of my score across week. And to save a couple of clicks, I've already prepared my Python script here, and I'm just going to copy paste it in. So over here, this is a little bit different. Usually Power BI, kind of you drag and drop, but here I have my Python script editor, and I can just drop this Python script in, and I can run this. Now, if I wanted to go ahead and use my own IDE, I could totally do that using an external IDE script, but we've actually also embedded VS Code directly into this Power BI editor. So if I go ahead and start typing, you'll see IntelliSense actually pop up directly inside Power BI. So I'm going to minimize this right now, and you'll see that we've gone ahead and plotted this heat map over here. So now we're ready to start analyzing our data. So let's go ahead and keep this a little bit local. I'm going to select a hospital in Washington over here, and I'm going to select King County. And I'm going to do that. And let's zoom into the map a little bit. And I'm going to select a fictitious hospital here in Seattle where the sentiment is looking pretty bad. It's currently at 0.1. And you'll see when I selected this, the whole right-hand side has cross-filtered. So I can immediately start getting insights. For example, I can see that some of my KPIs, such as my length of stay and my wait time, are generally higher, whereas readmissions rate is lower compared to the average. Sentiment used to be kind of okay, but things have really been degrading across the last couple of weeks. And if we zoom into our heat map over here, we've got all our different question categories listed. And generally, things look kind of okay, like for discharge, doctor care, nurse care, scores have been pretty stable. But there's two categories where things have really deteriorated over time, which is hospital environment and hospital experience. So I want to gain some more insights about that. So I'm going to actually flip this from looking at my data to a more qualitative view. And I'm going to look at all the key phrases that have been extracted out for this hospital in the past month. So the good news is I don't see anything about fish trending, so that's kind of good given the last stuff we looked about. But I can see something like words like unsanitary and cold and dirty popping up. And if I am a healthcare provider, these are the last words I want to be seeing to be described my hospital about. So that's a little bit worrying for me. So I really want to kind of focus more on this particular hospital, but I want to actually start running some statistical analysis to see what is actually driving sentiment to go down. Because currently we've selected this hospital, we've seen how the metrics kind of change, and we've been piecing things together, but I want to really understand what is driving sentiment to go lower. So I'm going to flip tabs over here, and you might have seen this during Scott's keynote. We are introducing the concept of AI visualizations into Power BI. And the first visual that we've authored is called the Key Influencers visual, which helps you understand what factors are driving a metric that you're interested in analyzing. So I'm going to actually author this from scratch over here. I've set it up a little bit, so I've told Power BI that I want to analyze sentiment. And we've set up the question to ask what influences sentiment to decrease. And this is set up to be looking at our Seattle hospital we were analyzing earlier. And now all I have to do is start dropping in factors that could potentially be, influencing sentiment. So for example, maybe the department that the patient visited has some sort of influence on their experience. And as soon as I drop this in, Power BI actually runs a regression model behind the scenes, and it automatically tells me, yes, this is indeed important. And we can see that when patients visit the emergency room, generally their sentiment is 11 percentage points lower than when they visit other departments inside the hospital. And we can see a visual representation of that too here on the right-hand side. But we don't stop here. We can carry on dragging in additional factors. And every time I drag in a factor, you'll see Power BI reruns the analysis and re-ranks all the factors in real time. So you can do interactive statistical analysis in real time in Power BI. And over here now we see that the factors have re-ranked. The top factor is indeed dirty, so my deduction was correct. Those key phrases did matter. And when patients would describe the hospital as dirty generally, their sentiment would be really, really low. But not only can I do this with one hospital at a time, I can start comparing different hospitals to each other. So what I've done here is I've actually set up 2 hospitals. They have very similar sentiment scores. You can see this one's 0.13, this one's 0.11. But if you look at the factors, we took a look at the right-hand side one. On the left-hand side, we can see things like surprising things. Day of the week is Tuesday. So patients, for some reason, when they come in on Tuesday, they are a lot unhappier than when they come in for the rest of the week. Another metric that came up, this isn't that surprising, is when they wait over 3 hours. But the important part here is even though we have 2 hospitals, very similar sentiment scores, the key influencers visual has surfaced different factors as the ones that we really need to focus on improving. So with that, I want to just jump back into the slides and do a really quick recap of what we just talked about. So let's move to the next slide. So over here, we started with data and doing the data prep. And we showed you how with data flows, an analyst can really create reusable and repeatable ETL processes using tools like Power Query, which they're already very familiar with. When they store data in CDM form in the data lake, they can really collaborate with their data scientists, their data engineers, and their business users really easily. So we minimize data redundancies and create reusable data assets. With AI technologies built into the data transformations, we can enrich data very easily. And with Power BI, with things like Python visuals and AI visualizations, we can really do things like find meaningful insights and share it with others. And with that, I'd like to pass back to Steve. Thank you.
Thank you, Justina. So sort of data at the heart to start with, right? For everything we want to do for both line of business applications and AI, and yes, the notion of being able to do sentiment analysis on the food at a large event in a word cloud is likely to be the fallout from this for build. The one thing I wanted to highlight in this last slide is, look, that AI infusion, right? Throughout all of the aspects of sort of our BI tool set in Power BI, whether it's sort of the cleaning of the data and looking for insights or sentiment, whether it's the ability to work with Python, whether it's the ability to pull in Azure ML or Azure frameworks, it's not sort of some big different thing. It's just woven in seamlessly. And you'll see more and more of that over time. And so that's sort of first step. So thing 1, data, we've cleared that. So the next part of the conversation then becomes, okay, how do we sort of allow subject matter experts outside of the data scientist in this case, but let's say in a particular industry or in a particular area to either modify some of the tools we built, and you'll see a bit of that with a virtual agent and sort of the notion of somebody who's a subject matter expert, or within the other areas of the code or the platform we want to build. And so we're going to leverage Power Apps for that. We're going to leverage a little bit of the new AI tool set. One thing I'll point out on this one is in our April release of both Power Platform and sort of Dynamics 365, we released a whole bunch of new capabilities. And so as we go through this, we're building on top of those capabilities. And there's more and more being added into the platform, both from the developer perspective and from an ISV perspective in terms of building end-to-end solutions. So with that, I'm going to hand off, I sort of fast-forwarded that, to my colleague Orville McDonald, who's going to pick up the next piece of this, which is the Power Apps, whether you call it citizen developer or subject matter expert. There he is. Oh, hide from me. All right, it's all yours, man.
Thank you, Steve. Started here. Perfect. Or actually, we need to switch over to 8. Great. So as many of us in this room know, developers often have way more on their plate than they actually have time and resources to handle. But kind of at the same time, within many of our organizations, there's subject matter experts, people who really know their areas very well, but they have a problem. They don't necessarily have the tool set or the skills to develop the apps they need to kind of get their job done sometimes. What ends up happening is that they'll then go and hack together a solution, and often, at least based on my experience, that solution goes viral throughout the organization. Everybody adopts it, and then guess what? The developers get stuck trying to figure out how to maintain that app, and then they're stuck with a dilemma. Do they just keep shining it and try to make it a little better, or do they throw it away and kind of start anew? Wouldn't it be great if we could actually have the same tools used across both the developers and the subject matter experts, so that way when things are built, that asset becomes a better and bigger piece for the organization? Well, let's see how we could do that using a combination of flow, bots, AI, and a wide variety of technologies. So right here we have a bot for, once again, we're continuing with healthcare, for Lamna Healthcare. And I'm going to go through and I'm just going to activate it. So it says, how are we doing today? Not so well because my son is sick. And for those of you who have written bots, this is just the Azure bot service working. Behind the scenes, we have Lewis, so we're able to pick out the intents. In this case, my son has a headache. And not only does he have a headache, but I think it might actually be a head injury, which is really unfortunate. So I click yes. Now I'm given an interesting prompt, right? I have a choice. I could either go into the office to get my son checked, or I could wait for somebody to come visit me in my home. Anyone who's familiar with the space knows that a head injury is actually a very serious thing and it needs actually more immediate attention. A situation like this may not necessarily rank the highest on the developer bug chart, but a subject matter expert would actually know how to go in and make the necessary fixes. Let's see if these tools that we have might help us out. So we're going to go through and we're going to take a look at the Virtual Agent Designer. So at Microsoft, we spent a lot of time creating bots. And one of the teams that I used to be a part of created the Dynamics 365 AI for customer service. And with that, we came up with some interesting authoring tools as far as creating dialogues. So you can see here we have a list of user topics, one of them being sick. And at this point, this is where people start to get nervous. Because if you go and you update a dialogue, you could introduce a bug. And even worse, you might have a subtle unintended consequence that people can't necessarily pick out. You can see here I have my dialogue tree. And this is just one component. This is the dialogue tree for when you're sick. You could imagine, as you saw before in our basic example, there were only 25. But it's not uncommon to get up into the hundreds when it comes to dialogue trees. So being able to pinpoint where your problem is can be very difficult. In this case, we have some tools that we could help with. We have our virtual agent, and the feature that I personally like is this ability to do tracing. When you do tracing, as you type things, so as one of my coworkers told me, bots have feelings too, so I'll give it a nice kind greeting with hello. It will actually go through and it will pinpoint where in the dialogue tree we are. Here we're at the greeting stage, and I'll zoom in a bit so people can follow along. So we have a greeting. Once again, I'll go through the same flow I previously did. So my son is sick. Put that through, and it will actually move out from the greeting dialogue tree and dynamically automatically go into the sick dialogue tree. You see I have the same options as before, and I'm actually flowing through within the dialogue tree on kind of what exactly is happening. Once again, I say that he has a head injury. And now I have my list of options. So for subject matter experts, this is great. They can pinpoint exactly where the problem is. But this is now where everyone starts to get a little worried. You might be thinking, in order to update this dialogue tree, maybe I need to take the JSON, the configuration files, and make some hand tweaks to it. Not a good idea. However, right here, I actually had the option by just clicking on this plus sign that I could then update the flow. In this case, I'll choose kind of what the bot says. You'll notice I get an error message. You could safely ignore the error message. It's just that I was walking through a trace, and I've now interrupted it because I'm going to go and edit it. I'm going to go and add some text. And thankfully for all of you, you do not have to watch me type it. I'll just copy and paste right there. And what this message says is pretty much that, hey, give us your phone number. We'll contact you. And if it's an emergency, like maybe you should just call 911. So this is great. We had the message updated. But this is where, once again, the details really matter, right? In order to capture this phone numbers could be in a variety of data types. It could be an integer. It could be a long. It could be a character array. It could be of type string. And that decision, as small as it may seem, could have ripple effects kind of throughout what's happening. You don't necessarily want someone who doesn't understand software engineering to be manipulating something like that. But once again, we have something to help us out. As I go through here, I just click on user says. I don't need to capture text, but I would like to capture a variable. In this case, I just simply say to add and to create a variable. I'll give it a name of phone number. And you can see from the drop-down, I have a variety of options, but for this demo, I'm just going to keep it simple with text. Go through, I click done. We see that my dialogue tree automatically updates and remakes all the connections that are necessary. So this is great, right? I'm feeling good. I have my phone number variable. But the next problem I have now is I want an action to be triggered when this happens. For that, we could actually take advantage of Flow. And can I see a quick show of hands of how many people in the room have used Flow before? Oh, great. OK. Good usage. For those of you who haven't used it, I highly recommend it. You could think of it as workflow orchestration, kind of an RPA type tool. And in this case, when I receive a request, you're going to see it's just basic HTTP. I have my post URL endpoint. I have my schema. And what I would like to happen here is two things. One, I would like a notification to go out alerting that, like, hey, we need to see this person. And then two, because I know the nurses only have so much time, I'd actually like to schedule an appointment to block their calendar so that way they have enough time to do what they need to do. In this case, I'll just click on adding an action. And here I have a variety of options. I could do different things like the notifications, which I'll do. I could take advantage of O365. I could even do things like send out tweets. I highly recommend if you're doing anything with sensitive data like healthcare, finance, maybe you shouldn't send tweets, but I personally still kind of like this feature. There are good instances for this. So for example, if you work for a utility and the power goes out in your neighborhood, right? Maybe being able to automatically send out a tweet letting everybody know, like, power's out, don't call us, we'll keep you updated as things are going on, is a good feature to have. In this case, I'm just going to add a mobile notification. And this is where it gets interesting as well, because when I send out this notification to the nurse, I want to provide some information, right? But I often worry about hard coding these things, because then that gets very hard to update. But there are some capabilities that help us out here. So in this case, first I'm going to put down kind of the boilerplate text. But then over here, you'll notice I also have dynamic content. By just clicking on that, whatever is put into the to field will automatically get populated. And just like that, the subject matter expert is able to adopt some best practices. But that's not the only thing I want to do. I also want to create the event. You can see here I could create a parallel action, so this will happen at the same time as well. And I'll just go through and create an event. From the dropdown, I can see the calendars that we have access to. Once again, I'll put the same title in here and also include the dynamic content. So this is great. Here you're going to see me actually enter some hard-coded dates, but that's only because this is a demo. In real life, what you would actually want to do is have some dynamic variables that go in there as well. So this is great. So I have this kind of updated. And the other thing you could think too is you could actually go and create your own kind of custom components and flows and make those available for people in your organization. So that way the subject matter experts don't necessarily have to play with this. So it depends on kind of what your comfort level is with different people kind of updating your code. So it's going through here and saving. And this is great. But sometimes I might want to use this type of thing even outside of Flow. In that case, I have the option of actually exporting this. You can see here that I'll just go through to export. And I could actually export it as a Logic Apps template. And in the interest of time, I already have it open here in code. So you can see it's your standard JSON, right? So we saw very quickly how we were able to kind of create that and send that back out for use elsewhere. So this is great. But we still haven't finished solving our problem. We want to be able to take advantage of this notification. Once again, the details matter. You might often be wondering, like, oh, this would be difficult to take this variable, plug it into this other piece. But not exactly. Just go through here, select my action. And then the list of actions become easily available. We see that we have our notification. And with that, we just simply map it to the phone number, and we've updated our dialog tree. So you saw how very simply, taking advantage of kind of the virtual agent designer and Flow, we were actually able to get subject matter experts to work well with their developer counterparts. Isn't this something all of you could use? Come on, I know, like. Great, so that was a good start, but now let's take it on to the other side, right? So in the case with our nurses, there's times where they'll need information at their fingertips, and they would like to have apps that could help them with that. As Justina showed earlier, she was able to take Power BI, take data from a variety of sources, wrangle it together, and make it usable to get great insights. If we wanted to, we could actually start on the Power App side and do the exact same thing, import the data we need and do the data wrangling there. But because Justina's already done the heavy lifting for me, I don't see the need to duplicate that. So I'll just actually take advantage of the work that she's done and plug that into my application. As we move over to Power Apps, you can see here that I have my Canvas app. And the one thing I want to call out is within the tree view, you can see that I have a variety of components. So you could actually develop the components that you think that subject matter experts would like to use and just make that available. That way you maintain the right security, the right data model, the right consistency of the user interface. And let's just go and run this. And we know that Power Apps could run within the browser, or they could even run as a mobile app. Here I'm going to click on the nurse link. And you're going to see profile information for the nurse. So this is something that's unique to our organization. Maybe it sits in some type of SQL data warehouse or database somewhere, and we're just able to pull that in. On the other hand, there's also sensitive information that we'll want to take care of. Because we're focused on healthcare for this demo purposes, I'm going to take advantage of the FHIR standard. So FHIR, what that is it defines kind of the common data exchange for healthcare information. It's an industry standard, just like many other industries have their standards as well. And I'll go through and I'll click on my patients. I see my patients listed. And down here, I see my son, Ashton. As I click on that, it actually goes out to the FHIR server, pulls in the electronic medical records, and displays them here. However, with that, I might also want to go and take a look at an appointment that I have with Ashton. As I click through to the appointments, we're then plugging into O365. So you could see that even within my Power App, I'm able to pull from all these various data sources, yet create one consistent user experience. And with that, as I showed before with Flow, whenever a record's created within Dynamics, I could also go through and then create an event for the nurse and also export that out, as I'll show here in Visual Studio. You could actually see a bit of the JSON there that's used for connecting for the FHIR server. But instead of walking through the code, what I'll do that'll make it easier is actually if I switch back to the PowerPoint presentation, actually wrong one, 5. You can see the architecture diagram that shows as we pull in data from a variety of systems of record, everything from demographic information, clinical trials, patient information, I could then flow that through to an ingestion process and then take advantage of the Azure FHIR server in order to kind of persist that data and then present it out through our various endpoints as a system of intelligence. Note that this is just one sample implementation. There's a wide variety of implementations you could do for healthcare data. And once again, this pattern will also work for other industries as well. So as a quick recap, we were able to see how with subject matter experts and professional developers, we could create the right tool sets across the virtual agent designer, the Power Platform, health accelerators, of which we have more accelerators as well, and the Azure FHIR connector. So with that, I'll hand it back over to Steve.
Bravo. Yep. Excellent work. All right, so we're continuing our tour de force. The last thing I want to do is just kind of quickly show off 2 ISV solutions, and we'll loop back around on the Power BI side. One of the things that both Justine and Orville talked about was this ability to get data into the common data model folders, to reuse it. One of the things we have to do, though, is the core common data model gives us the entity structure for, I'll call it the standard things we might all think about. But as you go industry by industry, you need more specifics. So in the healthcare space, we need the notion of a patient or a provider or a healthcare record, et cetera. So what we've been doing is going and working with industry experts at the ISV level, the SI side, and customers to extend the common data model for those specific industries. And so we've got a healthcare accelerator out there. That's what we're using today. We've got one out there today for the nonprofit space. We have one out there in education. At the show here, we'll move into private preview for 1 for automotive and 2 actually in the financial services space. But these are the tools that we're working with to try and give a kickstart for each of these industries and allow us to stitch pieces together. And so both of the next scenarios I want to show are samples. Both of the participants have worked with us on the accelerator. I want to show 2. Hands-free health first is a new actually device with software that's meant for the home and healthcare. And the second is Indegene, which is more of an end-to-end solution. Hands-free health is a new startup. Mike Cardillo, who is the Cardillo, I said that wrong, former Aetna CEO, kicked this off about a year ago. And you can actually see the device here on stage. If you think of any of your in-home devices that you talk to, this is your healthcare one. So hands-free health, that's what it's for. I'm going to switch over to 7. Did we get the switch? Which is my mobile phone here. And so this is if I have a device like this, we need to set it up. And you could, I guess, talk to it for a while and try and set it up. It's a little easier to configure through a mobile phone app. So we've got the app here loaded, and you can see the profile, the medications, et cetera. And this is nicely built for whether the person who's using this is setting it up, or if I think of my parents who are elderly, or if their IT person, aka me, or their healthcare provider, in-home healthcare provider is setting it up. And so you assume I'm setting this up for this person. If I go in, for example, to medications, You'll see these are the medications this person takes. If I want to add new medication, you'll notice I can enter the text here myself. I could speak into the device if I wanted to. Again, if I think of, okay, my folks, the answer is no, that's not working. But I do want to take advantage of some of the capabilities we've been showing today. So here I've got the camera, I've got the pill bottle. It's full of medicine. And I'm just going to take a picture of the label. See if I can hold that steady. Use photo. And what it's going to do is it's going to fill in the form. And it basically says this is aspirin, and that's what's in this bottle. But here I've used the cognitive service, the new OCR capability that Satya talked about this morning. I don't know if he highlighted it, but it's in the release. And this is a pretty simple form. So in this case, it's just looking for keywords. It extracts them. It fills in the form. If this was something more complicated, let's say we were looking at a real estate form or something that was multiple pages or had handwriting in it, we might want to train the model. In this case, though, super easy to use. I can save this, and that'll get added into the record. Right? So now we've got our device. It's set up. It's in the home. If I switch over to, let's see, which machine is this? 8. And I switch into my desktop. And let's see, I want to go to 3. And I want to come into, here we go. So this is the WellBe app. And we're going to do 2 simple things here. We have basically an Azure function set up, and we're sitting in the Azure portal. The function triggers 2 things. If I go into this, it's going to, oh, sorry, I wanted to start with the cognitive service. That was the first thing I did. So let me pop back. Sorry about that. Let me pick off the first thing here, which is basically taking advantage of the cognitive service. So here we're sitting in Xamarin. We've got an application for both iOS and Android. So we use Xamarin inside of Visual Studio, and all I have to do is call essentially the cognitive service. I can look for faces, I can look for images. We're just going to capture this particular image, and then we're going to use that to fill in the form. So that was sort of step 1, very simple piece to do. Then if we take the device itself, now we want to take advantage of the device. So we've set up a trigger here. We're basically just listening to the endpoint for this device. I've set it up to do 2 things. What's supposed to happen here is I've entered the medicine and I've entered how often they take it. The person's supposed to essentially at, let's say, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, my mom's supposed to say, hey, I took my medicine. If they don't, then we've set up a trigger to do 2 things. One is to send a notification on that device, which will turn on a light that says take your medicine. 2 is to place a record into the provider, whoever the provider's is for this particular patient, into their record using the flow tool set. Basically, Orville showed us this, so we'll go ahead and post a record into, in this case, we'll use it back into the the accelerator we built, the healthcare accelerator, so that way anybody else can take advantage of it. So if I go into the WellBe system here and I go ahead and run the app, I'm going to do a quick run. It should trigger in a couple minutes here a green light over on this device, which in this case is the signal. It would tell you, hey, go take your medicine. So we'll give it a second. In my practice, it took a couple seconds. Ooh. Takes a couple more seconds, somebody tap dances. Voila, there we go. Green light comes on. I know, that's crushing, soul crushing when they don't work. I have lots of good demos that don't work stories if you'd like afterwards. So, WellBe device set up and go. We also wrote a record into the healthcare record in the accelerator. So second piece of this then is, if we go ahead and pick up the Indegene system, here then is more of an end-to-end solution. Now Indegene basically as a company provided all of the records from, or most of the records from pharmacy companies to doctors and healthcare providers on the information about drugs. That was their primary business. About a year ago they said, hey, we want to build more of an end-to-end solution. We want to take the capabilities we have. We want to build a patient, doctor, and pharma connected tissue, essentially a cloud for all 3 of those. We want to be able to share the information across them. And so they built this up from scratch. And so if I go in here, this is the same patient. So here we have the core patient information. If I look at the health timeline, you'll see a trigger here. This is the aspirin, the missed dosage. That was the medicine that I added. They missed their dosage. Again, the accelerator on the back end allows the connection. It allows hands-free and Indegene to talk to each other without knowing each other. I don't have to write a custom connector for each one of the providers here. I don't actually have to know each other. If I look at touch points, You see this device conversation. This device over time will allow you to ask questions. So in this case, the patient is asked a question of the device. Question comes into the provider. Provider can either answer the question, or if they want to, they can go out to the pharma company. So if you think about those feedback loops where we have data coming in from a new sort of IoT third-party device that's feeding the system, we can then use that data and cut it across from, I'll call it supply chain in this case with pharma, to customer in this case, which is doctor, to third party, which is patient. And so we're trying to create those loops together and allow all the systems to connect. And so two sort of quick examples. In this particular case, I'm going to flip back to the slides. That's me, so we'll skip me for a second. In this case, on the Indegene side, this was about a year project. They started with 3 of the Dynamics 365 solutions: sales, marketing, customer service. Right? They took advantage of Power Apps. They took advantage of Flow. They connected into Azure in terms of the SQL database, blob storage. Then they took advantage of Cosmos DB. They used Kubernetes. They created the connection to all the different endpoints. And ultimately, we're able to create an end-to-end solution in about a year, take advantage of all the pieces. And that's sort of the modern application sort of line of business application scenario from scratch, using all the tools, using the accelerator, and off you go. So whether you're building from scratch or you're extending, we want to make sure that whether it's the Power BI side, the Power App side, the D365 side, they actually use Office and sort of SharePoint, all the pieces can be connected together. And if you want sort of a more detailed breakout of this, that'd be a good follow-on session that we'll do. The last thing I wanted to do was I wanted to sort of come round trip. We started in Power BI with using a little bit of AI to look at the data. That's sort of backwards looking. It's very useful, helps us with the information. The last thing I want to do is sort of go from sort of looking backwards to looking forwards. How do we use sort of data in Power BI to become predictive? All right, so in the last scenario, we used AI in the cognitive service. We used it in a couple other areas. In this particular scenario, I'm going to take the last step of the journey, and so I'm going to ask Justina to come back, finish off our healthcare sort of record and our healthcare journey with a predictive solution in Power BI.
Sounds good. All right, so let's jump back into Power BI over here. And so as Googs mentioned, so far we've used Power BI to really analyze our data and extract out insights. But now we want to switch gears a little bit and go from a retrospective view of our data to more of a predictive view. So I'm back inside data flows inside the Power BI service. And the scenario that I want to look at is really estimating bed demand. So there may be certain hospitals that have overcapacity, undercapacity in the following week. And we want to get better at being able to proactively kind of move patients around to fill our hospital bed allocation better. So we've got some historical data inside our data flows over here around our unplanned admissions. And what we want to do is actually build a predictive model to be able to forecast our admissions for the next week. And you'll notice this little icon over here inside our data flows, which is this brain with a lightning bolt. So as you can see, it's very, very smart. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually select it. And you can see we can add machine learning models directly inside Power BI data flows. And what we're actually using behind the scenes is some Azure technology called automated ML. So you can use this in Azure today. I think Scott talked about it inside the keynote as well. But we've actually embedded that directly into Power BI to give our analysts a point-and-click experience for building machine learning models. And I'll show you how easy it is to do in just a couple of clicks right now. So the first thing I need to do is actually tell Power BI what it is that I want to be able to predict. So we're going to go through this list of variables over here, and we've got our weekly unplanned admissions. So this is, again, historical data, so this is my known data. And this is what I want to train my machine learning model on. Now I'm going to select Next, and Power BI is going to give me a few options of the types of models that I'm able to build. And I'm going to go ahead and select a regression model, because I want to estimate a numerical value. So I'm going to click Next. Power BI has already done an intelligent selection for me of the variables of things I should be using for the model. But if I want to change these around and say, no, I want to use these other fields as features, I can overwrite that selection too. And really the last point I have to do is just give my model a name. So I'm going to go ahead and select something like admissions, and I'm pretty much done with building my machine learning model. Now, automated ML is going to run behind the scenes and is actually going to do all of the heavy lifting. So it's going to do the feature selection, it's going to do the algorithm selection, it's going to do hyperparameter tuning, and it's going to iterate through lots and lots of different models until it finds me the best possible model that it can build. But instead of waiting, for this to happen for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to cancel out and I'm going to show you guys a model I've already built earlier on top of the exact same data. So over here, I can flip from my entities to my machine learning models. I'm going to select this, and I'm going to go into my performance report. And what this is going to show me is actually how well the model I've built is doing. So we've got some of our important KPIs here, such as how much data did we train on, what was the final model that was fitted, we see our model performance, and we see some other diagnostics such as my predicted versus my actuals. I've got my residual errors. On the right-hand side, we've actually got a detailed explanation for our analysts so that we're not just throwing data science jargon at them, we're actually explaining to them what all of these terms mean. If I'm happy with this model and it looks like it's performing pretty well, I can apply this model to my data. And what this is going to do is, just like we saw with the cognitive services earlier, is going to create a new column on top of my entity. And in this case, instead of extracting out key phrases, it's actually going to estimate the amount of unplanned admissions for the following week for every single hospital we have inside our data set. So what I want to do is fast forward a little bit and show you how you can use this data inside a Power BI report once you've actually gone ahead and added it to your data model. So over here, as I've mentioned, I like maps a lot. So we have another map. And what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to select Washington as the area I want to focus on. And what this does is it actually filters this table on the right-hand side to show me all of the hospitals in Washington. And it gives me my predicted overcapacity. So we've gone ahead and we're able to do actually row-level predictions using this machine learning model. And I can very quickly see, there's about 3 hospitals that have very high predicted overcapacity. But the good news is there's a lot of hospitals that are actually under capacity. So maybe now I can start planning how I'm going to reallocate my patients more effectively in the coming week. But not only does automated ML give you row-level predictions, it also gives you row-level explanations. So if I go ahead and select, let's say, this hospital in Federal Way, which has a high predicted overcapacity, you see we've updated this waterfall chart above it. And what this actually shows me is gives me an explanation of how the machine learning model derived that prediction. So all the pink reddish bars that you see at the beginning of the graph, those are the ones that are driving that capacity to be higher. And the bars at the end, these ones over here, are the ones that are actually lowering my risk. And this is how we end up in this predicted capacity of over 22 over here. So we can see factors like this, for example, which is my last week's unplanned admissions. That's the top factor, which isn't that surprising. If last week I had a lot of unplanned admissions, there's some sort of time allocation to this. Next week I'm also predicted to have a lot of unplanned admissions. But then we also have some more interesting factors, such as, for example, my temperature trending downwards. So this is telling me it's not the fact that you have low temperatures, it's the delta, the change in temperatures, that's actually driving admissions to go up. So if your temperature is trending downwards, that's when your admissions are going to increase. So not only does it give you the prediction so you can proactively start allocating your patients to different hospitals, it also gives you an explanation so you can learn more about what is going on with your data. So again, I highly encourage you guys to try out automated ML in Power BI, build these predictive models, and with that, I'm going to pass back to Googs.
All right, so recap on this last piece. We saw a little, again, AI woven in. We saw the custom vision API in the Wellbe app. We saw Azure Functions. We saw very quickly just a little bit of Ingegene building an end-to-end solution on top of all of the components we showed. And then we ended with the automated machine learning moving to predictive inside of Power BI. I'd also point out in that last piece, Satya talked a little bit this morning about ethics for AI and transparency. Transparency is one of those things that people are very interested in. And so that piece Justina showed you at the end, which is not just the absolute answer, but what are the pieces that drove the change in the information, is going to become incredibly valuable over time. We're going to need more and more of that. So with that, I wanted to, again, come back around to the industry accelerators. Tomorrow morning, we'll publish a blog. It'll talk a little bit more about the 2 for financial services and the 1 for automotive. So if people want to participate in that or get information on the private preview, there'll be a form to fill out. We'll have a little more information on this particular session and some of the follow-ups. We'll publish it tomorrow, given the amount of noise that's out there today in the blog space from Microsoft, so we'll let that go in the morning. Outside of that, look, we hope this was useful. It's the first time we've tried to say, okay, let's take the Power BI side and the data side, the Power App side, the end-to-end pieces and try and stitch them together. Because from here, it's all deeper. You know, Justina's got a couple sessions. There's a Power BI deep dive. There are Power Apps deep dives. There are Flow deep dives. So there's deep dives in all the different pieces. And please give us feedback. Our goal was to try and say, hey, here's how to compose it all. If that works, great. If not, give us feedback. We'll work on making it better next time. I wish you a great rest of the build, and thank you for your time. Cheers.